I literally didn't think about even uploading this. I'm not gonna lie, I haven't been feeling like myself, well, because my uterus is screaming at me. And like look at me, I look hurt. I'm hurt. My Shayla. Anyways, I literally haven't even pulled out the camera. I feel so unproductive in a way of not creating content. I'm still gonna upload this because I feel like I literally, it's a way of pushing myself and putting myself out there, like I said, again and again and again and again and again and again. Yeah, so, but I did the dishes. Amazing. Look at that. Look at me. Productive. Haven't been able to get up and do anything. I also made some vanilla syrup for my coffee and it came out so freaking good. I'm gonna put the recipe on the side. That's what I'm, you know. I used Café Bustelo. Is literally in like this little, my mom's jar. She loves these jars. Café Bustelo. I made a shot of espresso with it. Literally with this. Use some of the syrup. I put the syrup in like first so it doesn't like dissolve and it can really give its like really rich flavor. And then I go ahead and I use this almond milk. Yeah, I need to get better ones, but I really do love almond brie. I was so surprised of how good it tastes. Like, it's so rich in vanilla. And I like my coffee on the sweeter side. I think that if it's a more bitter coffee, it's because I really, really, really need that up that day. You know what I mean? Like, I just need a bitter and like my soul when I wake up and I don't want to do shit. So yeah, and life is lifing. You know what I mean? Like, I think that since I'm here, we might as well have a conversation. I think that I currently went through like a little hiccup with a childhood best friend of mine. We've been friends for over 10 years. And it's really been hard for me to acknowledge the fact that that friendship can kind of go from best friends to just friends to then acquaintances to just strangers, or just even skip the steps and go straight to strangers. And at the same time, it's also been easy because I've practiced the law of detachment, and being able to detach and to master that, there's such a beauty in it because it helps you stay present and to cherish those moments, and being able to express gratitude in a much purer form. And I think people don't understand that, like, being thankful and saying like thank you to God and doing all those things are so important. But when you embody that feeling, when you actually feel it in your chest, when you look around and you smile at the little simplest things of just how the wind touches your skin, it really does amplify certain things for you. And so when you transform to this deep embodiment of gratitude, it saddens you sometimes, right? But then it also settles this kind of inner peace within yourself, where when you go through things that back then would have you fucking crashing out, now it's just like, okay, you know, like, we grow, we're gonna be different, I'm different, I don't want to be the same, so I'm gonna grow. And the thing about it too was that the biggest thing about what kind of ended the friendship in a way, or just is not the same, is that I made a comment about change. Specifically that she hadn't changed, and I never meant it, which again, the intention has nothing to do with obviously apologizing and letting that person know that you know, like, you're sorry for hurting their feelings. But this is me just, you know, talking and expressing myself and kind of like being vulnerable. But it's funny how that works, right? Where the irony in you actually growing and changing and possibly outgrowing so many things around you, and the one person that has been a part of all those transformations is the one that gets affected. You know what I mean? Like, and part of me was not like too happy with the way that the route was taken to communicate that, because she's not very confrontational, right? And I am. Like, I will say exactly how I feel and how you've hurt my feelings, or if something isn't just going right, I think that it's okay to express yourself. It's okay to be able to communicate that. And if the other person is not able to reciprocate that, or not being able to understand and validate or confront it as well, then the problem never really gets solved. And I feel like that was my biggest thing, where I don't like to leave things unsolved, because it does build like grudges or resentment towards a person that you didn't want, you know, to let it simmer. But it happens because we're human. And kind of making a decision on how she felt about the situation, and not giving me the chance to, one, not only apologize, but to be able to communicate before kind of saying like, well, I felt this way, this is the way it's gonna be. And that made me really sad, because in a way, when someone lets you communicate and they're able to sit there and want to listen to you and comprehend what you're saying, it means that they respect you. Where I was like, well, I can acknowledge that I'm a little angry and sad about that, but I also am going to respect it, because everyone is entitled, regardless of anything, regardless of the opinions that someone may have. Everyone's entitled to that. One day I was celebrating my sweet 16, and the next day I woke up and I'm turning 25. So there are going to be things that are going to be hard and are going to be hurtful, and there are people that you thought that will last in your life forever, and sometimes they don't. I love the things that I've learned to become, because in reality, this is sometimes like the young me that crashed out, the young me that didn't have her emotions regulated enough, or the me that was too loud and too probably annoying for a lot of people. But I never changed from being that person. I'm always going to be that girl. I just learned how to do it in a much more elegant and much more sophisticated way of doing it, and much more educated, because I had to learn, right? And when you learn and you understand that there are ways of getting what you want and ways of communicating in a non-chill way, but in a nice, classy, non-chill way, you learn to articulate yourself a little better, right? And some people, like my mom told me, she was like giving me advice about a lot of things in life. We have a lot of different conversations. I'm so grateful for my Mama Dukes. But she said that a lot of people spend more time angry than they do actually trying to fix the problem, or they spend so much more time angry than being present. And it really opened up so many things for me, because there was a time where I was like that, where I spent so much time being mad. I spent so much time overthinking, so much time playing scenarios and narratives in my head about the what ifs, and oh my god, like no one loves me and no one this. And then it's like I literally forgot to be present and to acknowledge that I was loved, to acknowledge that I wasn't alone, to acknowledge that I did have, you know, the community that I always prayed for, and that they were there. It was me, you know what I mean? People around you are a reflection of who you are. And so when you start to see that sometimes you're not going to align with people around you, you learn to accept it, because it means that you are growing and you are not staying in the same space, and that you get to accept all of the negatives as well as the positives. So when you look around, try to not always just focus on the bad, but focus on the beauty of the journey and the process, and how much more sweeter the fruit is going to be, and how much more sweeter the success and the result is going to feel when all of this hard work and all of this pain and all of the things that you had to go through were worth it at the end. So every loss is a win, because when you let go of the old things, you make space for the new. And instead of worrying about the narratives that you've built in your head, you get to actually live it and feel alive in that moment, and say that you did it, or that you didn't, or that you took that risk. So always be gentle with yourself, and always remind yourself how great you are and how strong you are, and that these little things that happen in our lives are all just part of a much bigger picture that we have yet to discover and really see. So thank you for being here with me.